Jesus Christ, is it Friday yet? Thank God, it is. It's Friday. It's your old buddy Trent here. And I am done, brother. Put a fork in me. It has been a hell of a week. So, first off, thank all of you guys that have been following the videos. We've been putting them out every day, and what a deal. So, for today's Friday Blacksmithing Truth Bomb, we're going to talk directly to a lot of you beginners, and I want to make this as condensed and simple as possible. I've shot this video a couple of times, and I just felt it was a little too long-winded. So, I want to kind of get this into a right question for you guys, because I've been asked about rounding hammers and all that kind of good stuff, at starting what type of hammer to get. And so, really and truly, I want to kind of strip this down to bare bones. There are, of course, with anything, there are nuances to this discussion, but I want to give you a couple of broad strokes. So, if you're new to blacksmithing or bladesmithing, the fact is there's really, and it comes to actually metal. This is our sample piece of off-brand Play-Doh I got at the dollar store. Whew, it really is some off-brand stuff. There are really two things you need to be concerned with when it comes to a piece of metal. That is radial expansion and lateral expansion. So let me explain what I'm talking about. A hammer is a tool designed to make this metal squish. I've heard it described as cow poop. So when you strike this material, it is going to stretch in a particular manner depending upon the type of tool that you smack it with. As a beginner blacksmith, there's pretty much only two hammers that you need to be concerned with, or beginning metal worker, let me say. And that's going to be a cross peen and a straight peen hammer. You could throw a ball peen hammer in there, but I'm going to put that as a subset of one of the other two, simply because I'm not going to count the rounding on the face. So let me explain what I mean. So if you have a piece of steel, really and truly, two things are going to happen to this from the perspective of a beginner. So let me go over here to the table, and let me move the camera. Grab your Dramamine. So you're going to want to hit this, and you're going to want it to do one of two things. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this rounded face hammer, which this would be considered a rounding hammer. I'm going to put it on here, and we're going to take a slow motion hit. Right, like in slow mo. Okay, that was a slow motion hammer hit. Now, this is what we call radial expansion. From this center, you can see that the material has extruded in all directions, in all radiuses from the point that we struck it. Okay? Now, let's talk about lateral expansion. This is a blacksmith's cross peen hammer, and for the purposes of this, it is identical to the straight peen except for where we have to be to hit with it. So if I want to stretch this bar, I actually have to hold the handle this way, but if it were a straight peen, I could hold the handle this way and it would work as well. But here's what we mean by lateral expansion. Check this out. Okay, that is lateral expansion, and you can see how instead of going in all directions, even though you get a little this way, most of that direction is this way. And those are really what you need to understand as a beginning blacksmith, or a beginning bladesmith for that matter. So the fact is that if you are a beginning blacksmith, one of the handier things to happen is you really want that cross peen. And this is kind of a leftover, because I could actually make the argument that a straight peen will be as handy for a blacksmith as it would be for a knife maker. Back in the day, when you had blacksmiths that were basically engineering the world, building up square frames for building buildings and machinery and everything else, if you did not have a mechanical joint where you where you had two bars of steel that came together like this, and you didn't have a screw or a bolt or something through it, that means that these bars were actually forge welded on the corner. So if you had, let me manufacture some steel here. If you had two bars like this and you wanted to forge weld these together, you wouldn't just lap them over like that and forge it. What you would do is you'd actually take one side, and using the cross peen, you would actually stretch out one side of it like this, And you would do the same thing on this one. And these pieces would be then lapped over, and because of that stretching, it gives you a lot more surface area to make a stronger weld. So that's where the cross peen really came in handy, but we don't do a lot of this anymore. For most of us, even in my shop, when I'm stretching a piece of metal and I want it to stretch fast, I am usually taking a bar of steel, normally a leaf spring, and I'm stretching it out to make it thinner. And that's where having a straight peen comes in. So as a beginner, you can hear the talk about the rounding hammers. That's something, a whole nother topic we'll get into later. But at the end of the day, the thing you need to be concerned with is a face on the hammer and a peen that can allow you to stretch metal faster in one direction. So now, I say that, understand, people have been smacking metal with a hammer for 2,000 years. And if you're a beginner, there's a lot of you out there that have been forging with a claw hammer. If it works, great. But if you're shooting for what is considered the proper hammer to have, you're going to want to shoot for a cross peen or a straight peen hammer because of the way that it moves your basic material. So guys, again, that's the broad strokes. Again, I want to tell you all, thank you so much for watching this week. Like I said, it's been a heck of a week, guys. I really appreciate your time and all the questions you've been sending me. Don't hesitate to ask any other ones, and if you're lucky, you may get them answered in a video. So guys, again, thank you very much, and I'll see you next week.